What's going on, beautiful people? In this video I'm going to talk to you about the cost of living in Saigon for me and try to give you an idea of how much it might cost you to live there. Keep in mind that it was a couple years back when I lived there, but I think that the cost of living should be almost the same or similar to when I was living there. So I'm going to break down the cost in this video. Anyways, let's get into it. So guys, I'm going to talk while I prepare my breakfast and get ready to go to work. Now keep in mind, this is going to be different based on everyone's situation and spending habits. So guys, let's talk about the cost of living in Saigon. So I lived there for almost a couple of years, and that was already almost 2 years ago. So from like 2017 to 2019. And the way I see it, there's like three main costs. So if you could we'll break it down from the three main ones. So like the first one's going to be rent, obviously. Like anywhere else, the rent cost is going to take a big portion of your cost of living. So how much does it cost to live there? It depends really, of course, on the apartment that you rent and the area that you want to rent in. Now I will say that I don't recommend to live in District 1. I would recommend to live in a surrounding district, so a district nearby, and just drive into District 1 whenever you want to go into District 1. The reason for this is because a lot of places in District 1 will be expensive and the quality will be a lot older, okay? But if you're willing to, spend for less quality and live in a center location, that's up to you. That's fine. There are some cheap, cheap options, like there was a Nguyen Thi Minh Khai alleyway 18A. I remember there's a lot of rentals there. You can get something like fairly quick and short term there. And I've seen some good apartments ranging from, or some good rooms I should say, ranging from about $150 a month to anywhere from $150 to $350 at the top, I would say. Okay. So now, what do I recommend? Which district do I recommend to live in? I would recommend, I like District 7. District 7 is a little bit, well, it's considered to be like, the rich people district, but actually there's a lot of good rentals there and a lot of newer apartments. So you can get something nice for a good price there. The thing is you have to commute depending on where you live in District 7, because it is fairly a big district. You'll have to commute through District 4, so there's always bottleneck traffic jams in District 4 because there's like two bridges that everyone takes. So if you have to drive during the peak traffic times, that's something to think about. But if you don't have to commute, I would recommend, or if you have a short commute, I would recommend District 7. The other ones are pretty good. I thought maybe like Bintan, District 4 is a good one, up and coming. So yeah, I would recommend to check into those because, it could be I think the cost of living is, like I said, fairly the same as it was before. But, prices on apartments, fluctuate and vary. So especially now that the pandemic is on, the cost of living, I'm thinking that the rent is going to go down a little bit. Landlords are going to want to rent out their units fairly quickly, and they're not going to want to bleed money. So I think prices will go down somewhat. They've already gone down here in Bangkok, and I got a really good deal on my new apartment here in Bangkok, which I'll show you guys in an upcoming video. So again, to reiterate, the cost of living for an apartment is going to be like $150 to, I would say, if you want a nicer place, a fairly nice place. Judging from my previous experience, it could be, for a nice place like a good one, District 7, $360 to $550. And I want to remind you guys, you can check out my apartment videos for apartment advice, but make sure you negotiate, okay? There's a lot of room for negotiation, and you know, they're open to negotiation in this culture. So make sure that you try to negotiate on the price or what you get with the apartment. Okay, so that took a long time to talk about, but it is a big factor in the cost of living there, which is the rent. The other thing that's going to be a factor is, of course, like, you know, your spending habits. So like food, for example, and then like your daily spending, like what are you doing, your activities. And then the other cost, the third one, I would say, is going to be transportation. So the way that most people get around in Saigon, of course, is motorbike. I know, and me included, I used to take Grab taxi a lot before I knew how to drive a motorbike, and I know a lot of people that still do that. I would not really recommend this if you like the thing with Grab taxis. I feel like that works for people who work online, work at home, or they don't need to like commute anywhere for work. The Grab taxi for me is not reliable if you have to commute somewhere for work. So I don't really recommend that. I do recommend learning to drive a motorbike. I know it looks dangerous, but the longer that you live there, the more that you'll understand. And once you get the hang of it, you'll realize that, yeah, it is, I'm not gonna lie, it is dangerous, but it's not like, depending on how you drive, it's not that bad, okay? I mean, if you're willing to live in Vietnam, then yeah, that's something to get used to, because driving the motorbike is yeah, like a way of life there. So it is a big factor of living there. It's hard to really avoid that. So the transportation costs, I think, is going to be somewhat low. Like if you rent a motorbike, it might cost you like anywhere from, oh man, I can't think in dong, but I would say in dollars, I think it was like around $50 a month or less. Like I don't think it should cost any more than $50. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself in the comment section below. But yeah, it should be $50 or less, I think. The gas is fairly cheap. You'll fill up probably, depending on how much you drive around the city, I imagine you'll fill up like 2-3 times, maybe 5 times per week at the most, depending on your motorbike. If you buy a motorbike, supposedly it's going to be cheaper, because like the longer that you rent, the cost will be slightly more expensive. So if you're willing to buy a motorbike and then sell it later, that could be cheaper than renting. So anyways, let's assume that will be like $50. The SIM card thing is really cheap. I remember I paid like $2 a month or something just for data with the SIM. I'm not even gonna factor that in. So let's talk about spendings. The spendings there, it's going to depend on your spending habit. So how much, you know, like what are your daily spendings? So you need to think about that. So for me, personally, okay, let's say for example, hypothetically, let's say that you eat 3 meals a day, and the typical cost of like local food, I would say, is about $2, okay, at the most. For me, when I lived there, I didn't eat a whole lot of Vietnamese food, and the reason for this is because I actually, it's not that I don't know how to say, but the reason for this is because most of the time when I ate Vietnamese food, I actually did not feel full, and I often felt hungry afterward. Because I don't know if you guys will notice this, but I notice that when I go out to eat, that a lot of the places to eat at are like noodle places, and if I eat noodles, I'm often hungry right after eating. So I had to eat something with rice. So it was kind of hard for me to find like good rice places, and often I found with the places that I found that were good to eat at, those places would often go out of business and be replaced really fast. So places really come and go fairly quickly in Saigon, especially with food and, you know, other businesses. So Anyways, yeah. So I prefer to spend a little bit more money on the quality of the meals because like food poisoning, I got food poisoned a lot in Vietnam, and that was a big factor for me. Of course, you know, if you cook at home, that's even better because, you know, cooking at home is better with cost, and then of course like controlling the quality of the food. But let's say hypothetically you spend about $2 per meal and you eat 3 times a day. Okay, so that's gonna be like $6 for eating per day. And 6 times 30 days in a month, it's gonna be about $180 per month, okay, for eating. Okay, so what I like to do too is you want to overestimate your budget too, because there's going to be some random or miscellaneous spendings. So like for example, if you like to go out drinking, that's going to be one of them probably, because the thing is with drinking in Saigon, the beer is super cheap. The beer is like $1. A lot of the beer is $1 or $2. And the thing with that is, at least for me, and I know with a lot of people, is, you know, when you start drinking, you think, oh, wow, it's so cheap, you know, I'll just get another one. It's not gonna matter. But the costs add up, the little costs will add up. And the more frequently you go out, those little costs can become big costs. So I would always like try to overestimate my budget a bit. So for example, okay, like let's say we get an apartment. I'm gonna use my personal example for this monthly budget cost of living in Saigon. So I lived in an apartment for $360 a month. Everything included except electricity. So electricity was about, let's say, $30 on average. So $330 plus 180. I mean, $390 plus 180. Okay, let's round up, 400 to 200. That's $600 a month. Okay, plus the motorbike and gas. Let's say about, let's put those miscellaneous costs too to 100. With the motorbike, $50. Gas could be like $20, $30. Let's round that up to 100. So that's $700 per month, and the rest we can overestimate our budget. Let's say that you have an extra $100 to spend on miscellaneous random things, drinking or whatever. So on average, like let's say you don't need to buy anything special, that's gonna be $800 a month. Okay, so that's pretty good. So that is, let's say that you decide to live like using this example model, okay? So the thing is it's gonna be under $1,000, which is really good. Like on average, I would say. For me personally, yeah, it costed about $800 on average, $800 to $900. Oh shit! After all was said and done, okay. The thing is like with rent there, if you don't negotiate, they will try to take, like a lot of places or landlords, they will try to take advantage of you because you are a foreigner, and they do mark the prices up or try to get more money based on that, okay? So, you know, try to, if you can, like some tips that I got, for example, is like go with someone who's Vietnamese, so you can try to, you know, they can help you negotiate for more of a fair price. And yeah. So again, to reiterate, to wrap up this video, it's gonna be the biggest expense. First is gonna be rent. Second is gonna be your miscellaneous costs. You know, for example, your daily costs like eating and drinking, activities, and then finally transportation. So anything besides, like, that's just the basics, okay? So anything besides that is gonna depend on you, okay? So I hope this video gives you guys a basic idea of how much it costs to live in Saigon, like a basic idea. Again, you wanna budget for yourself because everyone has a different personal situation. with their daily habits. You know, daily spending habits is often like a diet, and you know, sometimes people aren't able to stay or stick to the diet. So it's really going to depend on you. But I just wanted to give you guys an overall idea. So let me know in the comment section below in this discussion video, how much does it cost you to live in Saigon per month? What do you guys think about this cost breakdown? Do you think it's a fair assessment? Do you think it sounds like accurate? Again, like I said, it's been a couple years since I lived there, but I think things haven't really changed much, I would say. And yeah, like let me know in the comment section below also if I forgot any costs. And yeah, let me know your cost of living in Saigon as well. Or if you guys have any tips or advice for cost of living in Vietnam, that would be great too. Alright guys, I'm gonna eat these eggs. I'm gonna have some kai jiao for breakfast. Anyways, I'll see you beautiful people in the next video. Talk to you later.